Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of the Nasty Nelson podcast, brought to you by Pickleball News Asia. This week we're going to touch on a couple of things. One is going to be whether tournament organisers across Asia need to up their game in terms of the experience they deliver to competitors that join their tournaments. And we're also going to have a little look at some of these collaboration paddles that have hit the news this week. But before we do that, if you like what we do and you want to help us spread our message a little wider, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate your support. So jumping back into the question about tournament organisers in Asia. There's a lot of tournaments every single week across Asia. And to be frank, the level of organisation is very, very variable. So I wanted to ask the question whether there was a need for tournament organisers to up their game. I myself play a lot of tournaments, but I thought I would get in someone else to discuss that with me. So I was pleased that Jason T, who is a semi-pro from Malaysia, a sponsored player who also does a lot of coaching and has played and podiumed in tournaments in Malaysia and across many countries in Asia. Jason came in to have a discussion with me about this particular topic and his view on a general level about how well tournament organisers are doing. And so with that, let's jump into that interview and hear what Jason had to say. So Jason, thanks for joining us. Let's just jump straight in. We're going to be talking about, I guess, what's the good and bad about tournament organisation. And it's on the basis we see a lot of complaints about tournaments. So what I was going to do was just talk through certain areas and get your view on it from your experience. So the first one is when it comes to tournaments, how important is it to you that they get their scheduling right? Is that one of the key areas that you kind of look at as, how you would rate a tournament organisation as good or bad?
Yeah, for sure. I think the scheduling is a very important part of the tournament organisation. So that, us players, we can actually plan our day and also plan our activities based on the schedule, right? Mm-hmm. So especially even when we are playing internationally, we need to know when is the tournament happening, when's the game starting, so that we can plan our accommodation, logistics, everything. So when do we fly in and when do we play? So that's, I think, is a very important part of the game, right?
Yeah, and when you're at the tournament, right, so they'll have a schedule, but sometimes it really goes out. So your game's meant to be at 12, but it's 2, 3, 4 hours late. Are you kind of forgiving about that? Are you okay with it, or do you feel that actually something's wrong? The organisers should be doing better, or how's your feeling like once you're in?
Yeah, actually, I think that, of course, as players, we would like to have the scheduling be on time, and because the waiting time is every players know that during tournaments, the waiting time actually makes us anxious and keep on waiting, right? So I think the scheduling is very important. So they need to be on time and also be more efficient about it, right? Mm-hmm. So you're expecting a lot of matches going in, then you need to actually time the games accordingly. Mm-hmm. So, example, if let's say that the games that it wouldn't be finished by 12, you should actually put the start time at 3, right? Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be let's try to finish it at 12, then after that cram everything together, right? So I think we do experience some delays in terms of the scheduling, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, we as players, we hope it will be improved from this area, right? Yeah.
And then, obviously, because I think today we don't want to pinpoint any one organizer, but just in general, what's your view? And I'm talking internationally, not just Malaysia. What's your view in general? Do you feel that on the whole, organisers are getting it right, or do you feel that generally they need to improve on their scheduling? Just as I said, without pinpointing any individual.
Yeah, I think overall it's improving, but then I think we do see some instances where the last minute change of schedule. Like for example, game's supposed to start at 5 p.m. Suddenly it changed to 10, right? And then last minute notification a night prior to the event, it's late notification. So those are actually, I heard some cases where players actually miss the match as well, right? So they missed the match because the change of schedule, they didn't receive the notification or they missed the notification, because sometimes the notification comes in email and it's not like consistent across, like you receive a SMS or WhatsApp or anything, right?
Yeah.
So it comes across sometimes by email, so the emails goes to junk box or what, I mean, we're not too sure. So those notifications need to be like, because it's important for the players. I mean, the last minute changes like few hours before the game, I mean, people needs to plan their logistics, everything, right? So I mean, I do see cases where players actually miss their matches.
Yeah, I agree.
In such instances, like
and actually, from my perspective, I don't think there's any justification or excuse for like the morning of or even the night before making a fundamental change like that.
Correct.
And I also see some that say, "Oh, we put it on our Instagram," so they're expecting it's like that's how they communicate it. The other thing sometimes with the scheduling that annoys me, I don't know how you feel about it, is some organisers don't really check whether their players are playing in overlap categories.
Yeah.
And then everything goes wrong. Is that something, have you experienced, do you see that as a big problem, or is it something that doesn't happen that often?
No, I think it's it do happens, right, when people are playing across multiple categories, and then it causes like certain delays to the game as well. So another person waiting for the game to start, other players will need to wait for another player because he's in another game, right? So I think that is coming boils down to the scheduling as well. So I mean, it's good that you can separate it by days, or you need to actually put a note saying that, I mean, on the conflicting categories, right? Because you are scheduling it, you don't run concurrent categories.
Yeah.
So for example, men's doubles and mixed doubles, you're gonna run it separate day or separate sessions, like the morning, and you finish one category, then you run the other one.
Yeah.
So but you concurrently run two categories, they are bound for this to happen. I mean, if the players wants to join multiple categories.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So that will actually happen. So I think it boils down to scheduling as well.
Yeah, and from my perspective, again, I just. It's not rocket science. You've just said it. There are certain categories where obviously there can be overlap. Just don't run them at the same time.
Correct.
It's amazing how, in my experience, it's amazing how many do. All right, I'm going to move on a little bit from scheduling. I know this one is contentious. Referee quality at events. I don't think I need to go into why that matters. But again, just generically, when you look across all the tournaments you do, how satisfied currently are you with the level of refereeing quality that you get? So kind of like as an average, what's your feeling on it? And then maybe give us examples of like the good and the bad.
So I think I'm enjoying tournaments quite a bit. So I mean, from the start until now, I mean, it have been like 2 years, I think, around that. But then I do see quality of refereeing improving. That's a very good sign. And I see a lot of tournaments employing certified referees as well, and also experienced ones. So I think that's awesome. But we do see still some cases of referees don't know the rules, especially, right? So there'll be contentions with certain calls that are actually quite important and crucial during the point, and then we have that issue where referee's not sure, right? And a lot of times when they say that the players call, and after that they say, I mean, when ask for advisors or that, then they I mean it actually varies, not consistent. So I think in terms of refereeing, I think before the start of the tournament, I think all referees should be, the head referee will need to actually brief all of them and tell them the rules, and also be consistent across. Because I think we do see some inconsistency between different referees in different courts. I mean, they have very different calls, right? Then, which is understandable, but then I think just need to get the alignment right? And then also but there's of course still room for improvement, but I think they are already much better than before.
Yeah. And then I see it, obviously I see both sides, because as you know, I've also organised tournaments. And then, we try to put referees on every court, but even so, like some of the tournaments that I do, in the early rounds, you'll have one referee between two courts, for example. But for you as a player, do you feel that actually organisers should step up a bit more? And it's always about the cost, right?
Correct.
Because we have to pay for the referees. But do you feel that for like especially the serious tournaments, that organisers need to do more and put more referees in, or do you feel on the whole they're getting it right? Again, it's probably like your personal frustration level.
across tournaments?
If you ask me, I will of course prefer every single court there will be one referee, right? So that it will be more clear, and also be clear on the scoring as well, right? So we need, it's either them keeping track or we keeping in track ourselves, right? So because sometimes we're not too sure what's the referee going to do, right? So they say they were gonna actually keep track of the score and we'll look at your kitchen line, all that stuff. The rest are players, so that's fine. So it's of course better to have each one referee at a court, and I think that's the way forward lah. Especially linesmen as well. I think this has been a contentious issue for quite some time, right? For a lot of line calls, we are still getting it. I think every single tournament with people posting video after their games, saying that this ball is to be in and they call out all that stuff. But sometimes to be actually real, the ball is pretty fast. Sometimes we can't see the lines, right? But then it would be great that we have linesmen as well. But I understand about the cost. But then if not, then hope that the future we have actually a line, hot eye, right? The line calls, everything, that would be great.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you look at, let's say, if you look across recent tournaments you've done, again, mentioning no names, have you had tournaments where you haven't had even a referee per court, like even in recent times?
We do have that. So they basically start off the game just in telling you the rules. Then after that, we do the flip, coin flip, right, and choosing server and receiver. Then after that, basically they will tell you you're gonna start the game and you're gonna self-track the game. Then once you finish the game, then you just come find me and give me the score. Right. There are certain tournaments which are actually implementing that as well.
So and then my feeling on it is. It depends on like the level of the tournament. So for particularly in Malaysia, we have like 5 tournaments every weekend kind of things, and most of them are like don't really mean anything other than the tournament itself. Like it's not like it's a league or the winners are going to get promoted into something else. So those it's like maybe not so vital, but I feel that there are some like more important tournaments where say I'll say PPA as an example, because obviously that's like maybe the top, right? In those instances, I feel like they have to invest more in referees. Actually, PPA always do have at least one referee. But I feel like dependent on the level is whether, as a player, from my personal point of view, I will accept, okay, there's no referee here all the time or not. Again, do you feel the same way about that?
Yeah, so actually it depends on which position you are at, right? As a player, of course, we hope that there's more referees and linesmen. That's actually the best, right? Yeah. So we need to look at this from different perspective, I guess. In terms of organizer and reach a balance, right? So how can we make sure that the players have an enjoyable game? We have good line calls, good refereeing. All these we need to figure a solution to actually balance it out, I guess. Yeah, because I think the current issue with pickleball mostly is about the line calls, where we have a lot of those instances. But then
every single tournament.
Correct. So every single tournament, and So recently I think there are some interesting thing happening. I think it's not good, but I think there was some brawl. In a match, right? I think the referee was. One of the spectators was not happy. Then there was altercations, all that stuff.
It's always highly.
We will try to want to avoid that, right? We're trying to keep the sport fun and also competitive at the same time. But then, of course, based on the right cause and line cause, right?
Yeah. Okay, so next one I wanted to move on to was the communication. So that's like maybe pre and post event communication and during the event. Again, is that an area where as a player, how much impact does it have on you when the communication is good or bad?
Yeah, I think that's very important as well. In terms of tournaments, you see that some of the tournaments they just shout out your name and without a PA system, right? Sometimes some of the players can't hear the names being called. And I think in terms of scheduling, posting out like who's going against who, which court are you playing on, all those things I think can be improved, can be clearer, right? So to actually avoid a lot of people like missing their matches because they didn't hear their name got called. So I do see some such instances happening before, right? When the player was called multiple times but was not there. But the thing is because they was not using a mic or a loud PA system. It's just calling it out by name. People might miss it because sometimes the music's are loud, everything. Yeah. And besides that, also proper communication, like you say, pre and post tournament is very important. So pre-tournament, we need to know, okay, so the match schedule is fixed, when it's going to start, when it's going to end. That's important. And also like who's you're playing against, the draw, all those stuff, right? And then which court you are on. They are definitely important. And also post is like basically after that, if there's any logistic things like to be settled, like the prize money, how we're going to provide it to the winners, right? So that need to be communicated and ensure that the players feel that they are actually informed of what's happening.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So in my experience, pre-communication and in-tournament communication is very variable across the different organisers. Some are really good. And as an example, I played a tournament in Malaysia with a group that call themselves Bliss. Their communication very, very good. But I find it variable. But one thing that I found is fairly consistent with most of the organisers, I don't know if you found the same, is the post communication is usually, it's not all, but usually bad. So for instance, let's say they got a score wrong, which can affect your Duper, right? And you want to get back in touch with them after the event is finished to put it right. In so many of them, I say more than 90% anecdotally, you just don't get anything. I don't know, have you experienced the same, or is it better for you?
Yeah, I do experience that as well, right? Especially if you there's some errors like Duper, like you mentioned, or refunds, right? Certain categories you pull out, you want refunds, or even you asking for some receipts as well, right? Those I think we have slower response, and it's sort of like we don't know whether we're going to get a response at all, right? So we need to just keep on following it up. So I think in terms of post tournaments, I think communications, I think that can be improved.
Definitely. So you see that as well. So and I've again, some of it comes down to resource, but some of it is just using the right technology,
right tools, or I think maybe consolidated app or what to actually track all these communications. I think that'd be great. So and then I've seen extremes like you said. I've had some where literally I don't even know if there's an announcement. Maybe there is, maybe there wasn't. Right through to, I'll mention in particular, I think it was St. John's that I did, where I think the benefit they had was, because it was St. John's, they had a lot of volunteers. So actually what we had was each team had one kind of volunteer with a flag that actually took you from court to court. Oh, that's awesome.
But I don't think you could have that in most tournaments. But for me anyway, I find that communication is really, really important. I get frustrated if I don't know things like before the events, basic things like when do you want to turn up? Is there a pattern?
When's your turn, basically? So I do have a good experience also. I mean, certain tournaments, they actually have a holding areas for players. So that particular area will be for all players, and there'll be their match schedule will be put on the TV right there, right? So once your match is your turn, they basically will go to the holding area and call your name, and then the referee will actually bring you to the court. So I think that's also one way to do it in terms of getting the players ready for their match, and also a proper communication flow.
And then putting you on the spot again without mentioning any individuals, and I'm talking again across all the countries that you've done. Do you feel on the whole organisers are getting communication right, or do you think on the whole you would still want to see them work on improving communication?
So far, I think, like I said, I mean, there's of course improvement. I mean, and I think it's doing pretty good. But I think that there's room for improvement as well. I mean, like I mentioned a few points earlier, we discussed on the combination part, post and pre-tournament, all those things. I think a lot of those can be improved, lah. But then in terms of, I'm very happy to see the growth, right, of the sport, and then overall everything is improving. Tournaments as well. I think it goes back one by one. I mean, people see what can be improved, and working on that. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Okay. So the last two things I talk about will relate to money. First one is registration fees. So again, I've seen mainly on social chatter, quite a bit of discontent and complaining that the registration fees are going up and up and up So from your perspective, what do you feel about registration fees? How do you decide for yourself that a registration fee is fair, and what do you expect based on the registration fee that different organisers might charge?
Yeah, so I think nowadays the average I think is around 150 to 200. I mean,
in ringgit,
yeah. And then in terms of PPA, all those will be much higher.
Yeah.
So and then I think it varies across, and also depends on the organisers as well. So I understand that of course the registration fee will actually coincide with the prize money as well. So if you are charging more registration fee, people are expecting a higher prize money, right? Or they are better perks like goodie bags or the overall experience, right? So I think it varies across. So it's actually very hard to determine what's the right amount. But of course, to make it more accessible to more players and inviting more players to come in to play pickleball tournaments, all that. The price can be maintained. Maybe a lower range, so that people can enjoy the game as well, right?
Yeah.
But of course, it depends on which category you are joining, right? So it's like there are novices, intermediate, advanced, and also like the open level. So I think the registration and also the prize money need to be distributed fairly, and also across the categories.
Yeah. And then do you as a player, do you look at the registration fee, and let's say it's a very low registration fee, but when you get there, the organisation, let's say maybe they're thin on referees and things like that, are you more forgiving of the standard you expect from the organiser based on the registration fee you pay? Do you look at it that way?
Also, what you're saying is you're charging lower registration fee, but then it will be the overall tournament experience will be lesser.
Correct. Yeah. So you might have one referee for 4 courts, but you've paid a very low fee. No goodie bag, that kind of thing. Maybe the courts are not as nice.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think it depends, right? But for me personally, of course, I'll focus a lot on the how the environment is, right? How is the court nice to play with? Is the organisers trustworthy? And also, is the overall environment good, right? And I consider all those rather than registration fee. But of course, it needs to be fair, right?
Yeah.
So if you are charging a very low registration fee, but then your overall experience is like lacking, then I don't think I will go for that. Yeah, but then of course, if the registration is low, then after that it's more a social. It's more more social. Kind of tournament, I think that's fine. So I think it depends on the expectation as well.
The tournament itself. But then if I flip that the other way around, if the registration fee is very high, will you then be a lot more critical of the organizer?
Yeah, that's for sure. I think it happens to everyone. If you buy something with a higher price, you expect it to be more quality. Yeah. So I think it's a similar kind of comparison, right? So of course that with higher registration fee, we expect the things to be organized in a even better way, right? Compared. Yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to chat about was which we touched on is the prize money side of things. And again, when it comes to prize money, because I will classify you as like semi-pro player. So I guess prize money is more important to you than say me, whereas I don't consider myself a pro at all. But when it comes to prize money, again, does that have an impact on how you rate and how you assess a tournament?
Yeah, I think in certain ways, in terms of what's the prize money? Normally higher level tournaments, prize money should be better, right? So I think it does work that way. But then for me, I personally would like to not focusing so much on the prize money, but on who's playing and who I'm playing against. All those things, right? So the experience, the overall experience, and what do I gain from this tournament, all that stuff. Yes, I think that is important too. Not only the prize money.
Yeah.
Because for prize money, you actually need to win it, so that you.
You can't guarantee that's
correct. Can't guarantee. So the overall experience, the exposure that you get, the games that you're able to play, and then the people that you're able to meet. All those things help you grow your game as well. So I think that's my main priority.
Understand. But I think one thing that I noticed, which I find strange, and again, this is it happens in Malaysia, but I've just come back from Hong Kong where I've seen it there. I've seen that to me, open category is the premium category.
Yeah.
Everything else is people that are not yet good enough to play in the Open. But I see many times that the prize money for lower categories is higher than the Open, which is where the professionals will be playing, mainly because there are less professionals to fill the Open category. So is that something you've seen, and is that a kind of frustration for you at all?
Yeah, I think in recent months especially, I think we see a lot of novices, intermediate, advanced tournaments coming up. It's more than Open categories, right? So we do see the difference in the prize money. And Open categories tend to have lower prize money nowadays, right? Yeah. So I think it's because of, like you said, because of the registration, how many pairs are registered, and also the overall, like you said, people playing. So I think that's a trend I'm seeing now, that which I think is it's a bit discouraging for especially Open players. So I think Open categories should be have also like a fair amount of prize money as well, compared to intermediate, because we do see some big differences nowadays. And in certain tournaments as well, they are actually more willing to actually focus on 4.0 and below tournaments.
And again, from my perspective, when I think about the organisation part of it, some of the money that the organiser gets comes from sponsors, not from registrations. And for the sponsors, the value is coming from having better named players there. It gets more attention, more people see it on social and everything else. So it shouldn't be a linear thing. Oh, there were more registration money from advanced, so we'll give more money to that. I think it needs to be thought of a little bit more carefully, because I also agree. I think the Open should, by rights, actually get more prize money.
Yeah, and also besides more prize money, you encourage people to come and play Open more, right? So we'll be encouraging more players to move up to Open and play the Open category as well. So if not, if they would just want to stay in how to say advanced, or 4.0 below, to try and win more tournaments and how to say, win the money there, right?
Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's a topic for a whole webcast on its own, actually. But that is exactly right. The incentive should be for people to try and move up.
Correct.
Yeah.
There you have it. An interesting conversation with Jason. I think obviously as a player, and a player that doesn't want to alienate organisers, of course, Jason has to be a little bit diplomatic in his responses. But from my personal perspective, there is an awful lot that many organisers can do to improve how they run their tournaments. And we touched on some of that in the conversation with Jason. I think communication is key. I believe that getting a timetable together that is accurate, that doesn't change too much, and that is well communicated is probably the bare minimum that you're looking at. And reality is some organisers do a very good job and others do a very, very bad job. And as players, we should start to get a little bit more discerning, understand perhaps who the better organisers are, and gravitate to the competitions that are better organised and do a better job for the players. That would be my final take on this topic. But overall, the standard in general is going up, and I hope that those that put the effort in across the region to give players a better experience get rewarded by more people coming back to their tournaments over time. That would be what I would love to see. Now moving on, just touching on one other thing that was in the news over the last week or so, and that is that there have been some very interesting paddle collaborations that suddenly turned up. So the two that really grabbed the headlines are Euler collaborated with Razer, the gaming PC company, to launch a gaming paddle, if you want to call it that. And then more recently, Tesla collaborated with Selkirk to also produce a paddle that they're coming to market with. And it got me thinking whether this is just a gimmick and whether it's a way to just kind of exploit people to get more money out of them for paddles that are really not that special. but get people to want and desire them and pay more money for maybe a paddle that is really just very average. And I look specifically at the Tesla paddle, and from their marketing, they talk about how their engineering team have used their aerodynamics expertise to create a very aerodynamic paddle. But from a couple of the reviews I've seen of it, it doesn't seem to have very fast swing movement, which would mean that actually it's not that aerodynamic, or that certain things are weighing against the aerodynamics of the paddle. I do understand that it has actually it generates more spin than any other legal paddle on the market, so it does have some uniques about it. So I looked at that and tried to work out, is this a good thing or a bad thing? And while Jason was in the studio with me, I also asked him about this and what his view was on it. And here's what Jason had to say.
I did want to ask you one more thing, because there's something else that's just hit the news this week with two kind of high-profile paddle launches, which are kind of interesting. So there was Euler did a paddle launch with Razer, the gaming company, and then Selkirk did a paddle launch with Tesla, who they worked on a partnership to design. So I just wondered from your perspective, because the paddles are not cheap, obviously. So do you think it's kind of exploitative, or do you like this idea of these collaborations?
I actually think that it's actually quite an interesting collaboration. Yeah, right. Because Razer and Tesla are huge brands. Razer, myself, I'm a gamer as well, so I do play games. So instantly, when you see the Razer colorway on the Jola, I mean that's a really nice collaboration. And I think, and also Tesla. I mean, of course, now everyone into cars know what is Tesla, and then the sleek design of the pedal as well is really interesting. So I think it's limited edition as well, I believe.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think it's collectible. And also, I mean, but in terms of day to day, maybe some people will use it, but some will just collect it because there's limited quantities. Yeah. So I think it's actually a good initiative, and because it will actually bring a lot of other people from other areas to actually look at the pickleball and enjoy pickleball as well. So I think looking from that perspective, I think it's actually quite an interesting collaboration.
Yeah. So you quite like it.
I do like to see these type of collaborations, and it will help bring more people into pickleball as well, right?
Okay. So if anyone wants to buy you the Razer paddle as a present, you'll be very happy.
Yeah, I would be happy. But then, of course, I mean, in terms of paddle wise, I think there are a lot of other criteria to look at as well, right? The shape of the paddle, the core, the surface, and also the other things on the paddle as well. But I mean, in terms of the design wise, when we first started, I think the paddle is always like a white or black edge guard or grey edge guard. Correct. But nowadays it's more and more colorways and interesting colorways, different series, and that brings a lot of life to pickleball. I mean, you enjoy playing it more with a nice paddle in your hand. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing.
So actually, I think Jason swayed me on this. He said as a gamer, he really liked the idea of this paddle, the Euler Razer paddle, and he even mentioned to me that even if he didn't want to play with the paddle, he would almost see it as a collectible. And pickleball, compared to other racket sports, is one where we do change and buy paddles a lot. And I know that people really do like having multiple paddles. So on balance, I think where I've got to with this is that even though the paddles themselves may not be anything particularly special, maybe they're not, in terms of just, I'm going to use this paddle to play, they may not be worth that extra money that you're paying for them. But what I think I've realized is people do like brand, people do like the way things look, and people are attracted to, nicely branded paddles that are really nicely designed and the aesthetic is nice. And on top of that, it does create an interest beyond the existing pickleball user community, because it expands into other areas of interest and puts pickleball in front of them. So my final view on it is, having originally been a little bit skeptical and think this is just a ruse to get more money out of people, is actually, I think it is serving it's serving a demand and something that people like, in a way that may not appeal to me personally, but I think does appeal to lots of people. I think there's a value in that. So on balance, my own personal view is Collaborations, I think, are good. They are definitely bringing up interesting paddles that are getting a lot of attention. And long term, maybe they will even bring new innovations along from, very well-resourced design teams in non-pickleball companies. So I guess that my view has kind of softened, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing whether other paddle manufacturers are going to come up with these unique collaborations. So there we have it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. If you did and you'd like to help us spread the word, please do like this video and subscribe. Until next week when we see you again. Thank you.